finished the
crime scene at the Cecil Hotel.
Yeah,
and I knew it. You didn't know the story beforehand, right?
Nope, never heard anything about it. I don't know how I didn't even ever hear about it when it actually happened. Like,
it was, what was it? It was like 2008 or like
13, I think.
Yeah, so it was a weird and I don't think it was widely publicized. Like it was publicized, but smaller. And I think it's just because
But
information wasn't.
Stalker stuff too. So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they had the Night Stalker, but yeah, I watched it. I loved it because the outcome was what I always believed. But I was like, well, let's see what it's about. But the thing that struck me just the most was like the manager of the hotel and like the state of the hotel in general, because she openly admitted she had no hotel experience. And in my mind, I was like, so you have no hotel experience and you picked a hotel to run that's in the middle of Skid Row and has a bunch of crime attached to it, and you just like openly admit that you have the cops there 3 times a day, and you just like, I'm gonna run a hotel.
Yeah, like how do you even get that job? Like, why would they even offer it to her?
That was my thought.
Like when you're going through these applications, like, well, here's one. She's never managed anything and she's never worked in a hotel. She's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, and like promote from within before you would do that.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't have promoted from within. They were trying to like class up the place. But yeah, it was just a weird choice where you're like, why her? And like, did she Google the hotel at all? Like a very simple Google search of like, hey, I kind of want to work at this hotel. Maybe I should Google it, would give her information that she needed.
The entire country. Like, yeah, that sounds like a good place.
She openly said that she was giving a tour to somebody, and there was a police sniper in the building who was like, we have an active shooter. What are you doing here? She was giving a tour. She had no idea what was happening in her own hotel, like on any given day. And that the security aspect of it, that like, so even if I had no hotel experience, if I had gone into this hotel and I walked in the door and I heard that you have multiple murders, multiple drug arrests,
no public square inch of that hotel that would not have a camera on it.
Exactly. And high quality cameras.
Private rooms. But yeah, there would be good cameras on every square inch of any public area.
Like, that is like thing number one. Every entrance, every exit, every hallway has a camera. I mean, if you have the police there 3 times a day, it would be beneficial for you as well to get people out.
People jumping, those staircases would have cameras on them.
There's
cameras on it. Like,
yeah, it was wild to me that they openly said they're like, some floors didn't have cameras and some floors they had cameras, but they were like facing the wrong way. You're like,
maybe it was because it was such a high crime area. They're like, we don't feel like giving all these damn recordings to the police constantly. They're always wanting recordings all the time. I mean, maybe
give them the password.
Yeah,
give them the password to let them log in.
Back, y'all can manage it for us. Like, what cameras?
I mean,
we just have one some of that designated to sit here and watch our cameras. With as much crime as we have, that would be worth it.
I have to imagine though, for a lot of those cases, they wouldn't need the camera footage to make their case. Like I imagine it'd be very few times that they were like, yes, we really need to have your footage. But yeah, like that was just the craziest thing to me that I just like did not understand.
When you're wondering what she's doing outside that elevator, that hallway should have cameras where what she's doing. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
Whether it's a mental thing or there was somebody else out there.
Yeah. And it was crazy too, because like thank God for the internet sleuths, because they did figure out that she pushed the door hold button, and that's why, because everybody's like, it's weird, the elevator was broken, maybe somebody was pushing the button.
I was like, why is that door not shutting? But
then
leaves and it starts shutting. Like, what the hell? That's vicious.
Yeah, it starts shutting immediately. But yeah, they the people that came like months after, years after, they like tested it and like timed it, and they were like, let's find out how long this door stays open when you push that button. It was 2 minutes. And I was like, I was like, that explains why that door didn't close. And then with the video footage, the thing that I noticed too was when the police were talking about it, they were like, she's acting erratically. And you're like, how do you know though? Like they said they only watched the footage from that day. So I'm like, maybe she's just weird in elevators.
Footage from the other days. Like, how was she acting? Maybe she was scared of elevators. Like, legitimately had a real
Yeah.
phobia of elevators. You know, like who knows? Like, I was
Yeah.
scared of them as a kid.
I don't like car washes. Car washes freak me out. So like if you ever see me in a car wash, I'll be like,
I can love to get the car wash.
I liked him as a kid because of all the colors, but as I got older, I'm like the confined space, and I just always it was, you know what it was? It was Final Destination. Final Destination, that car wash scene. So I always assume I'm going to die in a car wash. But yeah, like yeah, the camera footage, like they didn't do like a full investigation.
Not asking for any footage of her from the entire trip.
Well, they had it. They were only looking at that one day because that's when she disappeared.
Yeah, but
And
I'm saying, like, why would you not be studying every other day to see
that's what, yeah.
what she was doing, see if she was with anybody else any other day, you know, like if it was the same person over and over she was with, you know, because then you would know, hey, she met somebody else here. We've seen her outside the hotel a couple times with the same person. Maybe they were dropping her off or something, you know, so you would kind of know, assuming they even have footage of the front door. But
Yeah. They did because she had books delivered, and they originally were like, are these people suspects? And then they were like, no, they immediately left and they never came back. But she also she was disruptive to her roommates.
yeah,
And that should have flagged for somebody that they're like, oh, maybe we should look into this a little bit further, instead of they were just like, oh, that's just whatever. She was in a room by herself. So like, what's the issue? But when they got to the end of the documentary and they're like, she was literally telling these people like to get out, to leave, to not be near her. She was locking them out. And nobody was like, maybe this is a problem.
right. Yeah, like that's something I would have questioned as a worker of the hotel. Like if, you know, she's like, well, we moved her to a different room, you know, by herself. Like, did you even say, hey, are you okay? You know, not that that's their job to do that, because I mean, that's not your job.
There, well, there was actually the lawsuit filed for her parents on that exact issue, that they said the hotel had the responsibility of, they should have known that something was wrong with her.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, like something like that where you're like, yeah, no, she was being disruptive and she was doing this, um, but like as far as like, I don't know if like I would like a hotel that's like in my business that far where they're like, are you okay? You seem weird. And you're like,
Well, maybe they should have some like thing where if you're traveling by yourself, you have to give them a contact name and number of someone for you. You know,
yeah,
contact somebody if something happens, like just like a regular routine thing that you do, you know, whenever you're traveling. So if there's
yeah,
somebody that if something happens, they know who to contact.
yeah. Cause I was, yeah,
Acting weird, they'd be like, hey, you know, your daughter's acting weird. Is this normal? Of course, at the same time, that's the whole, you know, privacy thing.
yeah.
You know, because if I'm an adult and I'm traveling, I don't want them calling my mom. Be like, hey, she's acting weird. Like, well, you know what? I was having a good time. It ain't none of your damn business.
You're like, great. Now I have to worry about my daughter who's grown.
And
Well,
then
something with that too, it came out, I don't think during the investigation, um, that her sister was like, oh yeah, she randomly goes off her meds and she does this, and you're like, oh, okay, like there's more to this, but like you didn't find any of this out until like so long after.
yeah. Yeah, and I'm still like, you know, when they had that first press conference or whatever, and the parents were there, they just stand back there and don't say anything, don't answer any questions. They don't get up there and say, hey, if anyone knows anything about what happened to our daughter, we really, you know, please come forward. We're begging anyone, you know, like they don't say anything,
Typical parent press conference protocol.
which is so weird.
Yeah.
Like I can't like if that happened to my child, like I would be bawling and begging for anything, you know, if anyone knows anything at all. And it's just, I think it's just an awkward situation. And maybe it's, you know, because they're not from Southern America. Maybe
Yeah.
that, they're from Southern America, like it's South America.
Yeah. No,
Southern,
they're from Canada, but the French
I mean, maybe, it's different, and they are more reserved with their emotions, and all that. And so,
oh, that's possible too. Yeah. We really wear it all out on our sleeves
yeah,
here.
like, I don't hide anything. So,
Well, if you think about like other cases too, like the John Benet Ramsey and like all those cases, you see they're in tears and they're like, that's what people responded to. And I wonder if maybe this case didn't get as much press attention because like it was just the police being like, we're investigating, we don't know anything. If anybody knows anything, just shoot us a message. Whereas here anything goes wrong. You have somebody missing for 24 hours and the parents are online crying and just demanding answers. So it could be cultural.
and it makes me wonder just how difficult her mental disorders were to deal with.
Yeah.
Like we've been waiting on this to happen. Like as bad as that sounds, but I mean, one of those, maybe she'd had suicidal, tendencies, and it was kind of this doesn't shock us at all, top
Yeah.
thing, you know what I'm saying? Not saying
Yeah.
they're happy about it by any means. Like nobody wants to lose their kid,
But sometimes you're prepared for it.
where they're not shocked. It's not something that, just came out of nowhere type thing.
Well, I think what was interesting about this too was that she was so open online with like everything that was happening, and then she just disappeared, and then nobody had any idea what was happening. Because she posted everything, and like all of the media coverage was just like what she posted, and that's the main documentary. Which I didn't like the voice that they used for her. I don't know why. It just really bothered me, and it didn't sound like it would have like fit. Like
It was kind of
it
a
seemed
cheerful, happy voice.
Yeah, it sounded very Valley Girl, like
Yeah.
just a very, and she just, the post that she was making, she didn't come across that like that would have been her voice. But I
Right.
thought that was weird.
Yeah.
Um,
And then there was
and
that
I,
creepy dude that not the musician. Like he didn't creep me out at all.
no,
Like he's just a death metal musician. Like that's a normal thing. No, it was that one guy who's all like, and then I just want to be able to feel what she was feeling. And I wasn't able to make it to her grave, but I sent someone. I had a friend who went for me, and they touched the grave for me. Like, bro, what the fuck? That's
so
weird
creepy.
level. Yeah, that's
But
like
he didn't know her.
stalking
That's
it.
where it,
What the hell? You
yeah,
don't
like
even know her.
it fell apart for me right there because I was like, yeah, you didn't know her before. Like you saw her story and you connected with her story, which I get, but like to take it to that level, I was like, it's been 3 weeks. Like you gotta tone it down. Like you're
Like I really wondered if he was a legit stalker before. And so it was like oh, we would have been together, but unfortunately she died. And so now he's created this like fake scenario in his head of where they were meant to be, but she died. And,
see, I just assumed, so I knew how the case ended. I knew that it was, she accidentally fell into the tank. But when I'm watching this guy talking, my immediate thought was, well, he definitely murdered her. Like he saw her, he became obsessed with her, he definitely murdered her, and then he just like, because they had no ties, nobody would ever connect them, then he was just like, I'm just a concerned citizen and I'm just very worried.
back to their crime scene type thing.
Yes, he was like, I went to the hotel multiple times and I walked where she walked and I felt what she felt. And I was like, that's some like reliving the magic type of stuff. That's not,
That's
but,
so, like I
but
can't,
that was
I'm not even that way like over famous people that I like. Like I would never be that. Like I can meet a famous person in person and I don't fangirl, I'm
no.
not that kind of person. I just so like he's literally like fangirling over this, like over her. And it's just
Yeah,
it creeps me out. Like if he wasn't a stalker beforehand, like I'm like
definitely was after.
would have been. He absolutely would have been one of those crazy stalkers. Like it's
Well,
like
and there were,
it would be like he's in love with her or just like wants to be her or that type of it's just really creepy. He's creepy.
yeah, yeah, I didn't care for him. He weirded me out. Um, and like a lot of the people in the documentary weirded me out. Like those two tourists from England who caught the water issue. They were like, oh, we were drinking the brown water and we were brushing our teeth and we were showering with it for, and we didn't think anything of it. And I was like, the water coming out was brown and you brushed your teeth with it?
You
Buy a bottle of water from the 7-Eleven. Like,
I would have been like, I'm just not going to use water to brush my teeth.
yeah. Like, I was dumbfounded because, like, I can kind of get the showering aspect of, like, it's a little bit different because, like,
I wouldn't be able to do it over my head.
no. But, like, I've taken a shower in a lake before, and I can't imagine that's,
Yeah.
I mean, if you didn't know that there was a body and that's why the water was brown, it's a little, like, I could see showering. But they said they were drinking it and brushing their teeth with it, and I would just absolutely...
I don't care what fucking country I'm in. I ain't drinking fucking brown water. Like,
no.
if it's normal there or not, it's not normal for me, and I'm not drinking it.
Well, and you have to think too that, like, they were the ones that brought it to the attention of the hotel. But how many people were in that hotel that were just like, oh, I guess this is just our water now. Like, this is just what our water looks like. Guess that's fine.
It's nasty ass water, but I mean, it's whatever.
And you're like, well, whatever, maybe it'll go back. And I'm like, no, like, that's so creepy. Like, how many days were they going with their just like nasty brown water before they were like, maybe we should tell somebody? And like the hotel staff, like, you didn't turn a faucet?
Maybe we're way more privileged than we realize.
That's possible. Because it was
a normal thing.
Well, so yeah, because the part that she was staying in, because they had it split into the two hotels, which I would have absolutely fallen for, the Stay on Main and the Cecil Hotel. So like, and they said that they catered mostly to tourists who they basically banked on them not looking up what the Cecil Hotel was. And they had like, it was two totally different hotels, like the bright, swanky, colorful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the Cecil Hotel was like, we're on Skid Row and that's our thing. But I have, I've had something, I did a timeshare presentation and you got a vacation at the end of it. And what they did was they were like, you'll be staying at a 3-star hotel, but we won't tell you what your hotel is until like,
well, that's how those travelers were.
Yeah, exactly.
They just knew it had to be at least a certain store. And I know Jeremy has done that many times whenever he's booking hotels when he's traveling. He'll just like book one that's at least a certain amount of stars, and then once he gets there, he'll find out where he's actually going.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I want to know where the hell I'm going.
And that's what, yeah, I would have totally done it. I would have absolutely fallen for that, stayed at that hotel, not thought anything of it. Because when I got on my trip, like I got to the hotel and I was like, this is a really skeezy hotel. Like, I don't know about like where you're getting these 3 stars, but yeah, like it was such a weird thing that like this hotel was able to do that. And they didn't have that separation of like, they said they're like, the elevators were together. So you are riding the elevator with a junkie or somebody who like was covered in blood. And that's just, nobody thought anything of it.
Elevators. I thought it said they had separate elevators.
No, they had separate floors. So they had, the 2nd and the 3rd floor were the long-term tenants because they had legal residency. Because if you stay somewhere for more than 30 days in a row, you have legal residency and you have to be like actually evicted. So that's why a lot of hotels that are long stay, what they'll do is they will make you stay somewhere else, like take all of your belongings out of the room every 28 days. So that you can't claim legal residency. So they had that. And then floors like 4 through 6 were the Stay on Main rooms. And then everything above that was Cecil Hotel guests. But it all shared the one elevator.
So is that place still open?
They closed it in 2017, but they're planning, they sold it for 80 million. Yeah. So they sold it for $80 million. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, the Cecil Hotel sold for $80 million in 2017, which is just ridiculous. I don't know where that evaluation came from. But they're going to redo it. And one of the things that they're doing is they are putting a wading pool and a bar on the roof. And I saw that and I was like, are they also going to do it as the Elisa Lam Memorial Wading Pool? Like, why would you put a wading pool on the roof of a place where somebody drowned?
Yeah.
But allegedly they're going to reopen. I'm curious about it, but it was a weird thing. And with the roof too, so I was telling you that the real hinge to this case was the lid to the water tank.
Yeah.
And we all knew that the maintenance guy found her. And the police did not do a thorough search. Like they searched the roof. They didn't go near the water tanks. The dogs didn't pick it up.
Search every single square inch.
Well, and they searched at night too, which I get for like speed and things. But you got to go back. Like, why wouldn't you in the daytime? Because they were lighting it with a helicopter.
Yeah.
But they just completely glossed over the tanks. So the 21 days later, after these people were like, my water's brown and there's no water pressure. Honestly, I feel like their issue was the water pressure and they would have just kept drinking brown water if that was the issue.
Brown water isn't coming out. We need more brown water. What's going on?
I can't brush my teeth. There's not enough brown water. So then the maintenance guy went up to check the tank and they didn't say on the news when the police were reporting it, the exact phrase was, when we checked the tank, the lid was closed. And they said too, like the lid couldn't be open from the inside. So it was like when the police checked it, the lid was closed. But I was like, well, yeah, when they checked it, but
what about that was who found her?
Yeah.
He's not gonna just leave that open. Like,
because that was my thought. I was like, if I was the maintenance guy, you walk up there, you're like, oh, this is open. This shouldn't be open. You see a body, and then you just autopilot and you go, lid shouldn't be open, and you close lid. So I always thought that that's what happened. And then when they confirmed that, and the maintenance guy was like, yeah, the lid was open when I found it, but the police misspoke. I was like, it spiraled, and everybody was like, the lid was closed, so obviously they're covering up. And then people disputed the autopsy and nobody wanted to believe it. And it led to all these crazy stories of just like somebody murdered her and there was something else going on. And
there are some other conspiracy theories related to it, because like her name, like apparently her hometown or wherever she lived in Canada, they like had like a study or something about tuberculosis. And like one of their studies or a medicine for it or something is named Lam Elisa.
Okay.
Apparently, or something like that. And then after she went there, there was a breakout of tuberculosis in Row.
Okay.
So there's like the conspiracy that she was actually sent there to distribute tuberculosis among all those homeless people to try to get rid of a lot of them.
So I would actually believe that, because they had originally tried to shut the hotel down when that horrible manager first took over. And then they were like, you can't kick these people out of your hotel. And so then I was like, well, how are you going to get them out? And then that would make sense. I could see where that one came from. I like the one, the movie where they said that basically that entire plot was totally accurate, and that movie had just came out and was like popular but not popular in the States, and it mirrored it right down to like her sweater. And they said like the little girl who drowned and she was wearing the red sweater that zipped up, and I thought that was an interesting one, because I was like, oh, that would be like, what kind of better promo can you get for a movie than basing a crime around it?
Yeah. What movie is that?
Oh, I will look it up. I don't remember. It was from Japan though.
We should watch it.
I would be down for that.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't know how to spell.
Yeah, I would be down to watch it. And then because I watched that, it got me on this like kick of watching other random mystery things.
Dark Water. So the film is called Dark Water, and it says in the film, an American remake.
The little girl goes in the water tank and everything.
I don't think it's a water tank. So it says. Oh, it's gonna make me scroll.
We only have 72 pages to go. Click next. I fucking hate those.
Okay, yeah, so here we go. So it says the circumstances of Lamb's death have been compared to plot elements in the 2005 horror film Dark Water. So in that film, an American remake of an earlier Japanese film of the same name based on a 1996 short story, a mother and daughter move into a rundown apartment building, a dysfunctional elevator, and discolored water gushing from the building's faucets eventually lead them to the building's rooftop water tank, where they discover the body of a girl who had been reporting missing from the building a year earlier. So pretty spot on for
spot on.
yeah. So that's why people were saying that they were, since it was, you know, a remake, that they were doing it as a promo, and that, you know, she was a hired actress and she never actually died. And they were disputing the autopsy and saying that the people that did the autopsy didn't do a thorough one. And I don't believe the autopsy results were released, which is where the issues came in, because they're like, autopsies get released. We demand answers.
Yeah. I mean, it is Hollywood, so
yeah,
who knows? But no, like that makes sense. And also the whole tuberculosis one makes sense too.
Yeah,
and
I would believe tuberculosis.
Especially with the way the parents don't even act like they even have emotions in regards to this, like as if they're actors too, you know. Just okay, we just need you to stand back there so those faces.
Yeah, you're like, you look a little similar to her, just like be her parents.
Yeah, yeah. So it kind of makes you wonder. Like I never for a second thought that metal guy had killed her. Of course, then he's like, it was like a year before she was even there that I went. Like I have all this proof. Well, the hell are these people trying to ruin my life? Like, come on.
And that's what he was. He's like, you guys, I have the proof, and they're like, we don't believe you.
Don't care. Don't believe you.
which is so crazy with the conspiracy theories.
He's like a creepy musician. Leave him the hell alone.
You're like, I just want to make weird music and make people mildly uncomfortable.
Right.
Yeah, that's what
make their adrenaline pump a little bit. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's so crazy that even when, you know, just because that one cop misspoke, it discredited the entire investigation. And like people to this day still believe that she didn't willingly climb into that water tank. And